In the recent years, ever since Game of Thrones became the high fantasy phenomenon, every show, every fantasy show has been compared to that. Even Rings of Power, which has nothing to do with that, is a really different show. So I'd like to know for you, what's the things, the appeals that are going to make Rings of Power an unparalleled experience, something that we haven't seen both in television and in the genre?
I think this is setting a new standard. You know, I think visually speaking, it's quite cinematic. You know, technology has advanced, so we're able to really sort of bring to life even some of the sort of the creature work. You know, we've got incredible practical effects, practical makeup, but, you know, just the way some of these creatures have evolved and some of the things that we're able to see both, you know, with CGI and practical effects. I personally feel when I finally saw it for the first time that it didn't really compare to anything that's currently on TV. It really feels like it's elevated, and that's exciting. It's exciting to be part of something that feels like it's an elevated version or an evolved version of things that have come before. So I hope that that's what people feel too when they see it.
Also, and I totally agree with what Cynthia was saying, and the added element is that the reason that Tolkien's stories have lasted for so long is because he condensed some of the great European myths, and those are just local. Those are local to him and his environment, but because of the truth of the mythology behind it all, it became universal. So I think what people who've never seen Tolkien before they will be introduced to his universe and his imagination. And for those who have seen Tolkien or read Tolkien before, it's just more of the same, but at a time of such creativity for him and such scope. I think it's the first time in history. This is the right time in history to put Tolkien's imagination onto such a wide canvas, because it's been given with the blend of CGI, storytelling, all of the stuff, and the fact that Amazon have fully supported this project to try to bring some of Tolkien's brilliance. I think that's what hopefully audiences will really feel excited by.
Really interesting question. I mean, I think there's a place for all sorts of shows within the fantasy genre, right? So I think maybe with this, it's just that, as you said earlier, there are so many characters that still feel essential and integral to the story and like to the overall worlds. And I think, at least as a viewer, when I was watching it, when I would be in the world that I wasn't in, I would want to stay in that world, and then all of a sudden it would be like to another world and I want to stay. And actually I think what it is that each world feels like its own film within within one huge film. It's like all of these characters are all themes and all kind of personality traits of a human experience. So I think the fact that you'll get to experience that in an hour, hopefully, per kind of episode is exciting.
I mean, it's an honour to be compared with Game of Thrones, because I think it's marvellous. But we have, I suppose we have different races, different beings here, and that's, to me, magical. And something that I get really excited about. That we're merely scratching the surface here to what Tolkien has written. So that it excites me that we've got hours to dive deeper in and explore how each race cope and fight, you know, with each other.
Well, it's got its major card is Tolkien, and I mean, it's an obvious thing to say, but it's the reason. But equally, in terms of the detail and staggering work that has gone into this, it really is staggering, the talent and the love and the passion for Tolkien that everybody feels, not only, you know, in every department. It's a real labour of love, and I think when it was created in our bubble within a bubble in New Zealand, I think that comes across on screen as well. The kind of subliminal connection between all of us as performers, and it was just an extraordinarily unique and special time. to be making this, and particularly something that heralds nature, so as Tolkien always does, heralds nature so much, and coming out of a pandemic when many people rediscovered the importance of nature in our lives, and I think it's come at a very prescient time.